your laptop like it's my slides.
Don't close it.
Welcome. Welcome to NANOG 57 here in Orlando. We are in our very first Monday to Wednesday program meeting. I'm Dave Temkin. I'm the chair of the program committee. The rest of the program committee, a decent amount of them are represented in this room today, are on this eye chart on the screen right now. These guys put together the massive amounts of content that we're going to throw at you over the next 3 days. We had 41 program submissions. Of those 41, 26 were accepted. I'll borrow a term from Dave Meyer, which is that this meeting has a very short runway. We tend to lose weeks around the Christmas and New Year's holidays where people just don't submit things for review, and then they either submit them at the last second or we have to go chase after them. And so it's a testament to the quality of the content that we still got that many submissions, and we're able to fill with more content than we had more content than we could accept. So just a few reminders. There's a break area where some of you had lunch outside earlier. That is where the breaks will be for the rest of the meeting for coffee and such. The survey, I just wanted to call that out as we always do. One thing I just wanted to make sure we say is that if you really like something, please tell us about that also. Don't just complain. We're happy to hear your complaints, and everyone in the room is certainly as good as I am at complaining when necessary. But if you guys could tell us when you really like something, that helps us figure out how to improve the program going forward, instead of just assuming that everything is neutral and you guys are just trudging through it. Reminder, the Aaron Help Desk is out front. I used them earlier today, incredibly efficient and always very helpful. The other thing we wanted to call out is that tomorrow during the track slot, which is I believe 4:30 p.m. after the afternoon break, there is an Aaron Public Policy consultation, and this is a track we're going to include going forward here at NANOG as Aaron and NANOG both evolve. Aaron really wants to hear from the operator community. You are relevant to them in many different ways. Everyone in this room, one way or another, has influence on Aaron, whether you're a voter, whether you're a member, whatever that may be. This is a way to be heard by Aaron, and there will be people in that track who may not normally be at NANOG who represent Aaron. And so we hope that those who feel strongly about their relationship with Aaron will attend. Wanted to call out real quick the Monday to Wednesday program. I know a lot of you had travel issues with it. We're sticking with this. We want to see how this works out for this meeting. We'll likely make some changes based on feedback, and that goes back to the surveys just to find efficiencies. For those of you who are asking about why peering is on Wednesday afternoon, there's a good reason for it. That allows peering-related content to follow that. We've regularly had an issue with, for example, the GPF meetings colliding with NANOG-sponsored socials. And in order to avoid that happening going forward, we thought it best to put that by itself to allow the GPF, the people who run GPF, to have their own time after NANOG. We will attempt to publish the skeleton for the agenda as early as we possibly can. We will probably do it a little bit late after this meeting, just as we debrief and regroup and figure out what did work and what didn't work for this Monday, Wednesday program. But once we've done that, we'll certainly update the schedule. Discussion guidelines, they're posted on all of the microphones. Basically, speak to our speakers like you would want to be spoken to if you were up here. Yield the floor if someone else is waiting in line to ask a question and you've already asked yours. General rules, I believe they're on the website as well, and they're on each microphone, summarized. NOGlab. Sorry to keep throwing things at you, but NOGlab. We've transitioned the NOGlab from being a responsibility of the development committee to a responsibility of the program committee. Our goal here is to demonstrate new technologies and ways of using existing technologies in new ways in an excellent manner, right? So what you'll see in NOGlab today, and you'll see in a demo here shortly, or a discussion about the demo shortly, is we're showing you what's new in the world of software-defined networking. And the NOGlab is right around the corner from where the break area is. If any of you attended the tutorials in the morning, over on the side, it's directly across the hall. We invite you over there to check it out and get your hands a little bit dirty with it. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to our Executive Director, Betty Burke.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's new. I'm saying good afternoon. Generally, I have to say good morning. So this is new, having our opening in the afternoon. I hope everyone enjoyed the tutorials this morning. We had overflow. It was great attendance. On behalf of the Board of Directors, let's see what I'm supposed to say, I do want to welcome all of you to NANOG 57 here in Orlando. It's nice, it's warm. Back home for me in Michigan, it's 18 degrees. I'm really happy. And we couldn't do this, we, the Board of Directors, on behalf of all of you, could not do NANOG without the support of our committees and our volunteers. We can call them out by name, but their names are on the web page, and they have these little ribbons so that you can find them and know which part of NANOG they represent, being the Communications Committee, the Development Committee, and as Dave has alluded, the Program Committee. They really are important to giving you a great experience, and we hope you make the most of that. We have this evening, at the close of our program, a community meeting. It's an opportunity for the Board of Directors to just share with everyone in our whole community, our large community, a little background and update about what's going on with NANOG. What are we here for? What are we doing on your behalf? And sort of where we're going into the future a little bit. And give you all an opportunity to speak with us. About 45 minutes, 30 minutes this afternoon, and we welcome you all to come back for the community meeting or stay for it. Tomorrow morning, those of you who are here who are also members of NANOG are welcome to join the board tomorrow. A reminder that we're having breakfast with you. Again, just an opportunity for those who are really interested in being on board with voting and being part of owning NANOG and setting direction. We're having a breakfast just to get your input as well. And later this afternoon, you'll get some update about the social activities that are being planned for you here while you're in Orlando. I welcome you again to thank the sponsors that are going out of their way to provide the funding for the social. That doesn't come from our NANOG budget, your registration fees. Those socials are a really important part of why you are all here, why we're here, and I hope you take advantage of them. Again, we always say thank you to our sponsors. You'll see a lot of thank yous and some logos splashed around. Not too much, because one of the things that we stay true to at NANOG is to not create a trade show at NANOG. That said, we all know that doing a meeting of this kind or running an activity of this kind owned by the community takes money. And we could not do it without the very, very thoughtful and grateful contribution from the folks listed on this screen. Those that step forward and were willing to be our host and work with me for 3, 4, 5 months in putting this meeting together, and our connectivity provider who were actually willing to provide at their expense great bandwidth for this meeting. Our premium sponsors and our infrastructure sponsors, just we couldn't do it without them. And please, as you see those here attending the meeting representing those companies, extend your appreciation as well. And with that said, that's my brief introduction. My challenge to you is to enjoy this great content and socialize in the hallway. And I am going to introduce and say thank you so much to the gentleman sitting to my right, Josh Snowhorn.
Thanks, guys. I've had the honor of hosting NANOG now 5 times. My previous company is my first time with CyrusOne. Usually I would do the obligatory network diagram, but I'm not the network host anymore. I would do the wiring craziness and all the hard problems we had, but I didn't have to do that. That was his problem. So in all the times I've hosted NANOG, I've never taken the opportunity to do a marketing slide deck, which is my first time. So you guys are going to have to bear with me because I can do it and you're going to have to eat it. So CyrusOne. CyrusOne is a very large data center provider that just recently spun out on the NASDAQ a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome. Got to ring the bell, which was a cool experience. We have over 1 million square feet of raised floor space, several million square feet of data center space around the country. Really giant facilities, lots of power, lots of cooling, and primarily focused Texas, Phoenix, and Ohio, with lots of expansions coming. This is our Phoenix site. It's a 1 million square foot site, so I get to pitch. This is really fun. Kind of cool. Big boxes, bigger than NODA, which is my last big box I got to build. This is our Dallas site. This site is 700,000 square feet. So this is the kind of scale you're going to start seeing in the data center world and something that CyrusOne's bringing along. What I came into CyrusOne to do was build a new IX, and that's kind of a cool thing I think everybody here appreciates. What we're doing is actually making it free, and this one in particular is in the state of Texas. It's in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston, including free Metro IX, free ports, and all that kind of good stuff. And if you notice at the bottom it says seismic traffic. Anybody know what seismic peering is? This is cool. I get to teach you guys something new. So most of our customers are oil and gas companies, and what they do is go around and do seismic research, dragging sonar arrays, thumper machines, and this kind of compute data is exabyte and yottabyte level data sets. It's so big that they actually need exchange type technology, but they didn't have it. These guys are still making tape. So instead of tape now, we're bringing the same IX environment you guys normally use, big Brocade switches and Infinera gear, and these guys will start exchanging seismic processing data across metros and starts opening the door for other peering and bring into new markets. So it's kind of neat. Kind of a little diagram of the state of Texas and the MPLS network and layer 1 connectivity we're doing. My very expensive animated slides, so I want you guys to appreciate these. I spent a lot of money on these, and there's tons of them. Isn't that cool? So Brocade's running multi-chassis trunking, MLX32Es with 768 ports on them, and Infineras and multiple fiber rings. This is the Dallas ring. Houston, which is a completely new ring, and a lot of people are looking to peer in Houston. It's kind of neat and exciting. Again, just a lot of resiliency, and just to make it clear, this is N by 10 gig at free capacity across multiple facilities. So giant peering lands across city sets that really nobody ever got to peer in before. Geeks going to SeaWorld. So we have a little problem, and I want you guys to be aware of this. I approved the slides and this flyer and all that stuff, and apparently I didn't really read the contract that I signed. And we're going to SeaWorld tomorrow, not tonight. So everybody be clear, it is not tonight. I just found that out a little while ago. So instead of starting at 7 p.m., it's actually going to start at 8 p.m. tomorrow. So when you get really drunk at Beer and Gear, you're going to go to SeaWorld, hang out with the dolphins, get more drunk, and then go on a roller coaster. And if you notice there, we actually booked up the entire Manta roller coaster. This is going to include dinner, Italian food, and free open bar, all top shelf. So I hope you guys enjoy. Yep. Yeah, you got to switch your, I'm not going to say what Patrick said he has to switch, but he has to switch that day. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry, very important. Your families can come. A lot of people have their wives and kids here, or husbands, or what have you. Everybody's welcome. There's no restriction on that. Again, open bar food, and I just don't want to think about what's going to happen on the roller coaster after everybody's drunk, but it should be interesting. So again, it includes dolphin petting, it includes penguins, there'll be tons of food and music, and the roller coaster, the Manta ride, is a 60-mile-an-hour ride. Girls, if you're wearing dresses, don't. If you're wearing flip-flops, you might lose them. It's one of those ones you hang from and dangle, and it does loop-de-loops and twirls and all that stuff, so it's going to be interesting. This is actually a description of it, but again, ignore the 7 p.m. It's going to be 8 p.m. tomorrow, right after Beer and Gear. We're going to go over, and it's going to go to 11 p.m. So the flyers are wrong, but it is tomorrow, not tonight. Everybody got that? So nobody's going to walk to SeaWorld on my dollar tonight? Make sure we're good? All right. Okay, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me host again. I actually signed up to host in 2015 in San Antonio because I'm nuts, and continue to do this for many years. I really love NANOG. It's been a big part of my life and my career, and you guys are all my friends, and it's really enjoyable to be a part of it again. Thanks. I'll introduce you. This is Tony Mann from TW Telecom. They're the wonderful host for our network that I didn't have to deal with this time.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's great to be here this afternoon, and this is the first time TW Telecom has actually participated in an NANOG event. So we're really honored to be here. Before I really get into my, my quick presentation here, I do want to thank Betty Burke for helping us with all logistics. Without her, there would be no internet connectivity or BGP sessions going on today. I also want to thank our local Vice President and General Manager, CyrusOne, who's up there in front. She took care of all the coordination, the operations to make that connectivity happen. And a special thanks to Jason Brown, the network application engineer from the Orlando market. Yes, especially Jason. Jason spent the last couple of weeks working with the people with NANOG and several people with the hotel facility here to make sure that IP V6 and V4 connection was active. So thank you again, Jason. We really appreciate it. Excuse me, sorry about that. So let's talk a little bit about the network that we provided here today. It is a 100 meg internet service burstable to a full 300 meg. It is actually traversing a 100 gigabit, excuse me, a 1 gigabit Ethernet connection going back to a dual diverse route 10 gig ring back to our Orlando Central office. From the Orlando Central office, it actually takes one of 4 routes depending on the destination of the traffic or BGP metrics to the rest of the world. You guys notice too, if you want to test out, our ASN number is 4323. So I don't want to go into the details of the network, but there's a special components there with the Juniper and Cisco's, but that's what you guys are using today to get out to the rest of the world. Since this is the first time TW Telecom has participated in a NANOG event, we want to give you a little bit about who we are. Now, this is not going to be any commercial. I'm just going to give you some basics of what we got here. TW Telecom has been around for at least 20 years. We're in 75 markets across the nation. Each one of those 75 markets is actually an access point to the internet backbone. So from there, you can get to domestic or global peering points and transit connections. We're in 17,000 buildings across the United States. That is 17,000 buildings that actually connect to our fiber optic network. And we have 28,000 fiber miles around local and regional networks. We also connect to over 400 data centers across the nation. And these data centers are people like CyrusOne here, and also different cloud providers and application software providers as well. As you can see, there's a 10 gig IP backbone. That's 10 gig to each of those access points. It doesn't mean that the whole infrastructure is 10 gig. So I talked about our delivery. It's on a gigabit transport, gigabit Ethernet transport. TW Telecom has been doing Ethernet service for quite a while now. We are one of the industry leaders. We meet the F certification and MEF certification and standards. And we prefer Ethernet handoff over the traditional TDM because of its additional scalability and flexibility you get with Ethernet. The IPv6 that's being provided by TW Telecom, it's something we've been doing for a couple of years now. We started being dual stack from 2008. Of course, we follow all airing rules and regulations as far as registration and allocation blocks. And of course, we do multiple BGP sessions across the world. This slide here just really talks a little bit about the additional subset of what we provide here today. As I mentioned, it's a 100 megabit connection that's burstable to 300, and it's on an Ethernet transport. That Ethernet transport is a subset of what we call intelligent networking. The intelligent networking actually encompasses segment by segment monitoring management of the network. It provides what we call real-time on-demand bandwidth, dynamic bandwidth solutions, direct access to all of our cloud providers like CyrusOne, Amazon, and a couple other providers out there. And then, of course, we have application aware where you can actually get allocations of bandwidth by the application or the API of the software that traverses the network. Well, thank you. That's all the time I have for today. Like I said, TW Telecom is proud and honored to be here and a sponsor for your access for today. We would like an opportunity in the future to one day talk about additional stuff and do some network brown bag sessions, some breakout sessions, and tutorials. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So real quick, we wanted to give you guys a glimpse into what we're doing over in the NOGlab. As I mentioned, there's been some significant changes in how we look at using it and what we think it can provide as far as insight into the future network. So I'd like to invite Ed Ballas from Indiana University, who's more or less leading up the effort in there, to give us a run through of what's going on.
Sure, yeah. So I work in the Global NOC, and I have the pleasure of managing a team that develops network monitoring and management and in general network control software. And so what I want to do today is, whoops, I just screwed that up. I did the reflexive click. Where'd it go? That's right here.
Oh, my laptop?
Yeah, I just did that. Okay, so what I want to do today real quick is just talk about sort of how we came to have some OpenFlow software that we're demonstrating here today. So going back in time, basically the way it works is the Global NOC collaborates with an organization called Internet2, whose mission is to service the research education networking community with a nationwide backbone. So in collaboration, we built out a 100 gig nationwide OpenFlow network. And my team has developed software that runs on that network, providing customer-controlled or customer-provisioned VLANs. We expect to have other applications in the future, but thus far today, the main application is this sort of portal-based provisioning system. So we ask you to come to the NOGlab and check it out. We have a multi-vendor demo of that. And I am not the Where do I point this thing? It should just, there we go. Brief history. So this might be a little bit more than brief if I can't get this thing to go faster. All right, so in the beginning, quote unquote, in late 2009, the OpenFlow 1.0 spec was published. The key concept here that was an enabling technology was this notion of separating the data plane from the control plane. Really what this gave us as developers was a vendor-neutral programmatic access. Later, in July of 2010, Internet2 was awarded $62 million grant from the government to build out a 100 gig capable network. And so using that, they embarked on deploying a brand new optical system as well as a 100 gig capable layer 2 and layer 3 system. Fast forward to April of 2011, people's minds got going, and they realized they were onto something here with the combination of those two precursors. So what we created was this thing called the NDDI, the Network Design Development Initiative, whose objective was to develop a software-defined wide area network. Our objectives were to support simultaneously domain science, so people doing physics research, et cetera, as well as those doing fundamental network research. In some ways, those things seem diametrically opposed. Some people want the network to be stable, others want to figure out how to break it. But the upshot is really we want to figure out a way of just doing a better job with network engineering and how to design these things. So a month later, we decided, based on all the risks, that we really wanted to pick an established use case, which this customer-controlled VLANs was one that we had already had in place for several years, and we really put our focus in the downstack risks. The software itself, the requirements are that it be open source. We provided VLAN translation, backup paths, sub-second provisioning and failover, integrated measurement and management, as well as high availability. We baked that into the software design. We decided that we were going to roll out a 10 gig network as a baby step. What you see in the lab is essentially that network, just in localized form. And from there, we embarked on evaluating the switches and controllers to figure out the good, bad, and vapor. In September timeframe, we decided upon the NEC P5820 as a switch, the NOx controller, and we decided that we were pretty much going to have to bake in the HA into the application layer and not rely on the controller. Stack looks like this. I'm running short on time, so if you want more details on this, come talk to me. Application looks like this: point and click, geographic frame of reference, easy to use, and users can use it in their bathroom, right, or whatever. This is what the network looks like: 5 nodes, geographically distributed. So a month later, we had a working demo. From there, we went and looked at a package called Jenkins, which provides sort of continuous integration, automation, that kind of thing. We also used Mininet to allow us to do testing before we actually had hardware in hand. We had one switch at the time, and we faked it with Mininet from there. By December of that year, we had 5 nodes deployed geographically, and the network was operational, 24/7 monitoring. We did avoid mission-critical traffic, and we really looked at it as a way of evaluating the procedures. So from there, it took us about another 10 months to get the 100 gig network deployed. That was a Brocade system. And then this month, we're actually looking at throwing Junipers into the mix later this month, and also something called flow visors, so we can do network multi-tenancy, which I can go into when I'm there. So in the lab itself, we've got 2 different networks that are basically the same thing. They're multi-vendor. We're using OESF to configure them, so you guys can come by and play with them, and you can basically just check out what it's all about. So we're going to be there today and tomorrow from 10 to noon and 4 to 6, and then on Wednesday from 10:30 to noon as well. So if you're interested in OpenFlow, come by. If you're curious about our experiences or want to pontificate, come on by. Or if you've just been sitting too long and you're going numb. So for more information, you can go here. There's my email address, the Google code page for our software, as well as our website for my organization.